but I wanted to take a moment because part of this platform is through the lens of storytelling. So I wanted to share with you my personal experience with Mr. Bedford and how it has impacted me. So I'm gonna, if you could just bear with me and let me tell this little bit of a story, and I hope that it engages you, because I think a lot of times when we have these types of experiences or professional development, it really is kind of sanitized. It really is coming from you like, here's something that you can do, and I really want to share with you my embrace the power of this technique, this tactic, how it can really help you to be a better manager, again, communicate and collaborate with your colleagues a lot better. So I've worked with a lot of you. A lot of you just have spoken to me on email. Maybe you've seen my face a lot of places, but there's two things about me. When you first meet me in the first 5 minutes, I'm very honest and I'm very passionate. Now those sound like they are two very good qualities, good virtues. Yeah, passionate and honest, but I'm brutally honest. I'm direct and I'm very forthright, okay? And I'm also very passionate. I am really emotive. I am gonna give it my all. I'm tenacious, and those are good things as well. But that is not the most effective way to communicate with all people in all circumstances. And so through my career, I came upon some roadblocks. And another thing about me is I'm highly motivated, I'm an overachiever, and I like nice things. And this was impacting my career trajectory and, quite frankly, messing with my money. And I don't like that, okay? Like I said, I like nice things. I like to travel. I work really hard because I want to play really, really hard. And I really like fine dining. So when I came upon these roadblocks, that of course impacted those personal things for me. But then also, you know, you don't want to have problems within your team. You don't want to have a reputation amongst your colleagues that whether it's true, real, not perceived, you don't want that to impact your ability to do your job well, to put forth your vision, right? To be able to build alliances and collaborate and get things done. So because of these roadblocks, I needed some help. And that's when Mr. Bedford came into my life. Now, I shouldn't say he just came into my life. I know him, I grew up with his wife, she's a friend of mine. And so I was aware of his work because of social media. I never worried, there it is on his t-shirt right there. So I was familiar with his work, and I asked him to help me with some one-on-one coaching sessions. So I read his book, we did some exercises, and then we continued with some one-on-one training twice a month, which we still do today. And it really, really helped me understand and give me some perspective on myself, a lens on myself. But more importantly, it gave me some insight into my team and gave me some tools to help me communicate and work with them better, and honestly help us achieve our vision for our department better, because I'm able to communicate and work with them better. And so I'm not up here just to say that it worked for me because I'm saying that it worked for me. My assistant's right there. She will tell you, I have seen growth. Thank you. My colleagues on the steering committee, they have told me firsthand, I see growth in you. Oh my goodness. They are very familiar with the mantra that I say every day: practice EI daily, practice emotional intelligence daily. It's a work in progress. So anyway, I'm coming to you in the spirit of what is really, really common in our African-American Black culture, which is each one reach one, each one teach one. This was very, very helpful for me, helped me as a person, in my personal growth, and as well as as a manager. And I really, really, really felt that it was my duty to share this, especially with my African-American colleagues, because you know, it's very challenging to be at a place where you don't see a lot of us. We're all really spread out, and it really can be really challenging to get past a lot of the cultural differences, whether intent is bad, good, or ugly, it can be really challenging. So when this had this impact on my life, I said, I wanted to share this with my group and then also bring it to the lab community to just say all of us can benefit from this. And it hasn't just helped here at the lab, but it's helped with my family as well. And so anyway, I hope that you really enjoyed this experience and can learn from it. We're doing this presentation to encourage you because it is a time commitment. It's a 2 to 4 hour workshop that AERG will be having for our members. And so we want to give you this overview, give you some insight so that you can decide, hopefully inspire you to our ERG members to come and do our workshop, but then also with your teams, with your groups and with your departments to really consider doing a mini workshop or a retreat because it is really going to help you communicate and collaborate better. So with that said, I want to introduce you to Derek Bedford, Mr. DB.
Good afternoon, you guys. Good afternoon, you guys. So, like Ms. Colette said, my name is Derek DB Bedford. Most people refer to me as DB, but I'm comfortable either way. DB, Derek, or Mr. Bedford. Except if you call me Derek, I feel like I'm in trouble. Like when I get my first name, I feel like I'm in trouble of some sort. So I'm here today to ask you right off the top if you can do me a favor and whatever it is that you are expecting from me when you came into the room, I'd like for you to just set that to the side for now. Right? So whatever you think I'm about to share, whatever you already discovered about me, I ask that you kind of set that to the side and give me a fair opportunity to share this information with you. Can you guys do that for me?
Yes.
Okay, thanks. I appreciate that. So my company is called I Never Worry Consulting. And I Never Worry is a brand that I created about 20 years ago that started off as a t-shirt concept, but it eventually evolved into a consulting platform. I have been working as a criminal justice profession for about 20 years. This year, I decided to retire. I took an early retirement back in April because what I do with this emotional intelligence is so important to me that I wanted to get out here and do it full time. And I'll tell you a little bit more about that in a second, because like Ms. Colette said, the way I deliver emotional intelligence is through the lens of storytelling, laws of attraction, and temperament theory. But by show of hands, how many people are already familiar with the term emotional intelligence? By show of hands. Okay, about half the room. How about temperament theory? How many folks heard of temperament theory? Okay, a little smaller. Okay, so I'll share a little bit about that. So this presentation is really designed to kind of give you kind of this overarching idea of what it is that we do in our training, which hopefully encourage you to want to learn more. Again, we call it the EI experience because when we do our training platform or whenever we share, we like to embrace it as an experience, right? Because we know that if you experience something, whether it's good or bad, if you embrace the experience, then you're more likely to use the tools more than not if you enjoy the experience. And so we try to make this something that's very good experience. We do this with corporate training. Well, we do something we call the brunch of inspiration, where we take it out into the community and invite those who do not work at corporations or can't afford to get to one of our trainings at their job, do it for something in the community. We do couples retreats and we do college presentations. This here is just an example of some of the places we've been with the emotional intelligence. Our platform is growing. We've been consistently on this track for about 2.5 years now, and so more and more companies are starting to recognize the importance of it, and we're doing a fairly decent job of raising awareness of we are the companies to be able to bring EI to your organization. So for me, when I share, I will share things that are noteworthy, right, for you to take notes, quick notes, not a whole lot of information. One thing I like about this EI platform is that it's very simple, right, but it's very practical and very effective. And so if you look at the screen up there, like I like to start off my day just like this. How many people start with their coffee in the morning? Now, some of you start with your brain, and some start with your heart, right? But mornings, I like to have these two get together because I need them to walk together, right? So I need folks, a lot of folks do work or they navigate through life using their brain, and a lot of people go through life using their heart. But sometimes if they're disconnected or one is working harder than the other, then your EI can be off balance. So this is just a little slide that I like to introduce and saying, like, when we start our day off, you want to make sure that you follow your heart. Make sure you take your brain with you. Slide I think that's noteworthy for taking. Again, for EI, for me, it's not this big, large platform. It's a bunch of little simple things. And if I get up every day and I say to myself that I have to remember that I am responsible, right? I am responsible for how I act, no matter how I feel. Let's take that in for a second. You are always responsible for how you act, no matter how you feel. Now, do we run across people sometimes that act a certain way based on how they feel? I mean, maybe not here at the lab. Maybe not here. But in life, you will run across people, right, that act a certain way based on how they feel. And emotional intelligence, and here's the secret about emotional intelligence, it's not about telling you how to feel. Because that really wouldn't make any sense, right? No one can tell you how to feel. But what you do with those feelings, what you do is important. And most of the time, we do not take into consideration what we're doing with our feelings. That makes sense to you guys? Okay. Let's start here. What do you guys think?
Oh, you at 9 months.
What kind of emotions does this gentleman got on his face?
Happy.
Happy, joy. You know, when I look back at this picture and when I wanted to put my presentation together, I wanted to start here. Because I figure in a time in our life, right, where everything is so instant and you can get the stuff fast, we can't skip this part just yet, right? I mean, I would imagine that everybody in the room has a picture like this somewhere. I mean, it's probably not as cute as mine, right? But we start here because, you know, when I look back at this picture, you know, it looks like it's a pretty warm day, right? But I got this hot turtleneck on. I'm not really feeling my haircut, but I'm just basting in the sun. And I don't have a care in the world. And why at this point in our life we don't have a care in the world? You don't know about it. You haven't experienced life, right? Because you don't have to work, right? Everything you need, you just kind of raise your hand or you make a few notes. You cater to your every need. And so that's a very good point because everybody in this room, right, whether you want to believe it or not, everybody in here is a sum of your total experiences in life. The way you look at things, the way you respond to things, it's all based on what you have taken in along the way. So right here, I haven't taken in much, so I don't even complain about the heat. But if it gets hot in this room, some of y'all start complaining about the heat right now, right? What about now?
Dressed little man.
I know something's going on, right? I mean, I've been living just a little bit longer, right? I figured by now I've probably been popped a couple times. To get down, stop, right? You know, and so I don't know why I look like this. I don't know if it's the leather jacket. Give me the shiny shoes. Like someone said, maybe I can do what I want for Christmas. The operation just wasn't cut. I think I wanted the G.I. Joe with the Kung Fu grip, right? But again, right, as we grow and we learn, we start to take on this life and things start to be a little different. Now, I will say to you guys that I'm definitely not your average trainer, right? I come to you guys sharing this skill set with you, like Colette said, personal experience. Emotional intelligence was a game changer for me. It actually really saved my life. And I won't have time to get into the entire story, but we'll talk a little bit about it. What do you guys see now?
Two young men, brothers.
Even the tone of the room change. He ain't gonna jump off the screen and get you. Right? But however, this is a time of life where things were very dark for me. So quick story, right? You know, my mother and father got divorced when I was 8 years old, and my young brother was 5. And when parents usually get divorced, who usually leaves the house? Right. So in my situation, my mother left. Right. And, you know, at 8 years old, I can tell you in my life, I don't remember a lot of stuff. But I do remember this one thing that my mom said to me. Right. And I remember the day that they were having their little fight and things were not going well. I remember me and my brother, you know, sneaking up to the front of the house to kind of see what was going on after quiet there, and me peeking around, looking into the bedroom, and I can see them on the opposite sides of their bed. They both smoking cigarettes. Everybody smokes cigarettes in the house around the kids. Nobody cares, right? So we go back to the bathroom, right? It's quiet. Then we start hearing doors and stuff open. As we come back to the front, I can see my mother taking all of her stuff, right, and moving. And she jumped up to my auntie Angie, pulled up to get her. She jumped in the car, and so we run out to the car to just kind of see what's going on. And my mother looked me square in the eye and said, "I'm never coming back, so don't look for me."
Wow.
Now, what does that have to do with what we're doing today? Well, back then I didn't know, because I grown up and learned. I understand now, right? I understand. You know, today, me and my mom, we have a very strained relationship, but it was her lack of emotional intelligence, her inability to separate how she felt about my father in order to love her kids. That makes sense? Some of you guys would do that now. Matter of fact, some of you probably have that. Right? Mad at the other, right? And you cannot redirect your energy to be available, to be present, right? But the things that are important. I didn't understand it at that time, right? So again, I don't have time to go into the story in the train. We expand it out, but during this time of my life, that led me to get into a lot of trouble. A lot of trouble. You know, we stayed in West Oakland. We moved to an area in East Oakland called Brookfield. And as soon as I got there, I knew by the fact that this was not a normal neighborhood. These kids were off the hood. They were riding around on mopeds, and they had big chains on. And there was always fighting and things going on. So I kind of thrown into an element, right, where, you know, my first trip to the store, my bike took from me, I got punched, and all these things stirred. And so I became a very scared individual for a very short period of time. Very quickly, that fear turned into anger, right? Which is what we start to see here on the screen, right? And I didn't want to be afraid of the dark. So be afraid, I had to become the dark. Okay? So I leave that right there, okay? I don't want you guys to judge too quickly. Because part of emotional intelligence, right, is the ability not to cast judgment on folks based on a few things that you see. We'll watch a quick video, come back and discuss this a little bit.
She sings this tonight. I know. Hey, Dad, pull over. We need gum.
I'm on it. Oh, honey? Here's some money.
What do we got here?
Hello.
Patient has a fractured fibula. Given him a mild sedative, so he can be able to go home tomorrow.
Daddy's gonna be so excited.
That killed him.
Paging Dr. Palm.
Look at the cute dog.
So just imagine you out chilling in the park, enjoying your day, right? And you see this guy who obviously is picking up a Twinkie or a cupcake or something, right? But he picks up this object and he comes over to you and tries to have a conversation. Would I get very far? Probably not, right? Because you only seen one part of the story. Now, of course, right, he probably shouldn't be picking up anything off the ground in the first place, but maybe he was raised on the 3-second rule. I don't know, that's how I was raised. 3 seconds on the ground is still good, right? But however, right, if you even think the incident in the beginning where the lady's on a plane, right? And if you ever flew Southwest on a plane and you have to use the restroom, right? You got to make a break for it, right? Because you can't really stand in the aisle and hold the line. So it looks like she was just trying to make a break for the bathroom. Little turbulence happened. Lights come on. It can appear, right, that one thing was happening, but that wasn't. That really didn't happen. And those of us that can see the whole story would have a deeper understanding than someone who's just saying the part of the story where the lights came on. That makes sense? Just like if you just only seen the person picking up the Twinkie, right? It's different than if you watch the whole scenario. Make sense? So in life, that's how it is for all of us. People show up to us every single day, and we only know a small part of the story. Like our colleagues, if we serve clients, if we work with the public, like we don't know what it took for a person to get up today and get to where they're at. But as humans, we have started to become very insensitive. We don't care, right? We just want what we want in the moment. But if we start, part of moving into the EI space is starting to take under consideration that there's more to the story, right? There's an old saying that says that you don't want to judge a person by the page of their life that you walked in on, right? Because the reality of it is that everybody in this room, you've been living long enough, you probably have a page in your book that you don't want read out loud as well, right? Because experience, life does that to us. And so when I ask not to judge too quickly, it is a strategy as well that I like to use as I navigate through the day. I try not to pass judgment. It's human. Sometimes I do, but I try my best not to act on it, or I try to clear my mind about what it is I'm thinking and being open to the entire situation. And so I left the slide back on a dark space of my life. I mean, you guys will be good to know, happy to know that I'm definitely not there anymore. Right? So you don't have to go tell your managers they brought a thug here, present, right? But we definitely didn't want to meet that guy at that time because I was very dangerous. And the neighborhood I grew up in made me think that any conflict that I had to result in violence. I mean, that was it. There was no in between. The older you get, you learn that everything, right, can be solved in a conversation. And you start to learn that we can agree to disagree, and I do not have to like you. And still, I can work with you. I can still treat you with kinship and kindness. Me not liking you is a personal decision. But how many times do people decide they don't like someone or something? We see it all, right, in other ways. And that's what the EI piece of it is about. And that's what we're trying to raise awareness today. I talked about I Never Worry. Again, it's a platform of mine. It's a blended mix of emotional intelligence, laws of attraction, and temperament theory. And this model is designed to assist you with managing your emotions, but most importantly, you want to be able to skillfully respond to the emotions of others. Who? Up here?
The people in the outside world on the cloud.
They say you need to stay close.
I can't stay close to the mic. I'm sorry. I'm gonna come back and forth, you guys. I can't do presentations. No. Okay. So, I Never Worry is a blended mix of emotional intelligence, laws of attraction, and temperament theory. And like I said, this model is designed to assist with managing your emotions, but most importantly, being able to skillfully respond to the emotions of others. So there's one thing to try to keep yourself in check throughout the day. But what about when those unexpected things happen, right? Whether it's the customer service rep, whether it's the person in the long line, whether it's trying to find parking out here. What's wrong with this parking situation? I'm using EI all morning. I was here 45 minutes earlier. And then the person at the toll gonna tell me I get the little triangle part. I'm like, oh, I'm VIP. I don't mean nothing. Like, what does that mean, right?
You need the orange one.
I need the orange one, right? But I had to exercise, and it's a true story, EI, because I actually thought that I was gonna have some VIP service. So I'm looking for a man like, yeah, no, I'm so wrong. I'm driving around for a long time to figure out if I had to just check myself about how I felt about it and put it to the side, right? So, that's the thing about EI. It's just all about, in every moment, in every opportunity, to make sure you check in your own temperature. And with that being said, here's another little slide that I think if you take this down as a note and keep it as something that you pay attention to, it'd be very helpful. This is something I use. I'm always emotionally prepared for people to switch up on me at any time. Think about that.
Thank you.
I'm always ready for you. I'm ready. I'm ready in case I say hi and you don't say hi back. I'm already ready for it. Or if I hold the door for you, right? Or I'm walking behind you and you let the door close right on me, right? I get that, right? So I'm already prepared. You know, we're working it, and so like I said before, you know, I grew up from the young man, the last screen that you seen, and I worked in probation for the last 20 years. And what I did was, after I got myself out of a bunch of trouble, you know, I took all that experience and went back to the system that I terrorized for over 10 to 15 years and went back and worked there for 20 years to try to help others understand there's a better way to do things, right? And better ways to navigate. And so when we say that this is a very personal thing for me, that's what I mean. Like, it's helped me in my profession, right? Anybody here got kids? Now, do we got to be emotionally intelligent with these kids today? Maybe not yours, but mine definitely do, right? And I got 5 kids, right? Ages 12 to 26, right? And I got a set of twins that's off the hook, right? So my EI is always challenged, right? If you're in a relationship, right? Anybody married on a relationship, you know that you need to exercise emotional intelligence in order to foster healthy relationships. Because a lot of times we say things at the wrong time in a wrong manner that makes the conversation last way longer than it needs to be. So just a little note for yourself. Again, always be emotionally prepared for people to switch up on you at any time. You always want to protect your peace no matter what. So emotional intelligence is not something that I made up, right? It's actually something that's evidence-based. It's been around for a very long time. And here's the 4 components of emotional intelligence. Again, in the training, we have time to flesh it out, but these key components you should write down and memorize them, and you can Google and expand on the definitions and things of that nature. But that's what I love about it. It's really just 4 components, right? It's not this super complicated thing. If you keep the world and look at it through this lens, you will move and grow in EI space easily. And number 1 is self-awareness, right? Your own mood and attitude, you know, how you feel every day when you get up. How do you feel right now? Some of y'all looking at me crazy right now. Right? Wondering if I'm gonna get to the punchline, right? Thinking about what you have to do next, right? Your feelings, right? And your feelings show up that drive your energy. So you want to pay attention to that. One of the things I like to say is that we get up every single day, right? And we look in the mirror, but do we really make eye contact? I mean, we wash our face, brush our teeth, I comb my hair. But do we actually take time to take a look at ourselves and how we're about to show up in the world? Some of you do, some of you don't. But I challenge you to do so. Some of you are scared. It took me a long time to start looking at myself, right? And how I really show up, right? Self-management. Again, what do you do with your emotions throughout the day? And not necessarily just on a negative standpoint, it can happen on positive. You can share some good information too soon and sabotage the opportunity, right? It happened for us at work. We had a situation where we wanted to put somebody on into a special assignment. We wanted to check with them to see if that assignment would fit for them. Had the back office meeting. They said it was cool. We told them, good. Do us a favor. Don't say anything. Let's get all the details together. What do you think they did?
Told everybody.
Went right out to the water cooler and told everybody they was the next paper county for the department, right? And what happened? Unions got involved. People who don't even want the position start to yap it out with the mouth. Guess what happened with the position? Couldn't give it. And that was a good thing. That was a good emotion they wanted to share. So this happens on the positive and negative side. And the key to it is being conscious of it. So self-awareness and self-management is what they call your personal competencies in the emotional intelligence quadrant. How you feel, what you're doing with that feeling. Very simple. Then there's the social awareness piece, right? Picking up on the vibe and energies of the rooms that you encounter, the people that you're talking to. I like to call it my spidey senses, right? That intuitiveness that we all have inside of us, right? But sometimes we don't listen to it, right? Your energy will tell you how long you should be in a conversation, when you should stay away from it, what group of people you should be talking to. You know, timing is everything. So you want to listen to that, let that kind of be your guiding light. And then relationship management, right? And we're not just talking about intimate relationships. People are your greatest resource. Nobody in this room has gotten to where you're at by yourself, right? Somebody had to crack the door for you, which means you were in a good relationship, right? So you want to move through life understanding that. You meet me today, right? I'm your colleague today. Tomorrow I could be your supervisor, right? Which the case happened to me at the probation department. I was going back and forth in juvenile hall from 1986 to 1991, right? I never thought in a million years that I would go back there and work. I wound up going back in there working, becoming supervisors for the officers that locked me up when I was a young person. I became very good friends with the judge who prosecuted me and the district attorney. This stuff is public knowledge. There's news stories about it, right? But it had to do with the relationship because growing up in East Oakland, being an African-American male, we were taught not to trust law enforcement, right? It wasn't a good experience. And so had I not open to developing new relationships, I probably wouldn't even be where I am today. And so relationship management is very important. And I always tell my staff when I was there, because this person is 15 today, they're not going to stay there. They're going to grow up. And I run into adults all the time that once were kids, and they walk up to me, and they like, hey, DB, you remember me? I'll be like, no. But guess what? They remember the last conversation we had when they were 10, which proves Maya Angelou's point. That says, right, people will never forget what they will forget what you say, right? They may forget what you did, but they'll never forget how you made them feel. You want to take that in. If you want to foster healthy relationships, if you want to move the needle in your life to a higher level, you have to take into consideration how you're treating them, right? And if you're doing a good job at it, keep going. If you're not, be honest about it and see if you can make some adjustments really quick, right? So again, you get up every day, self-aware. How am I feeling? Self-management. What am I doing with those feelings? Social awareness. Okay? What's happening in this room, right? What's happening to the people I'm talking to, right? Picking up on those vibes. And relationship management, treating everybody with kinship and kindness, right? Understanding that we all are connected one way or another. That makes sense to you guys? Okay. Another quick little nugget, no matter the situation, never let your emotions overpower your intelligence. Never. Now, sometimes we want to give ourselves a reason or an excuse to do so. But when you do that, and I'll tell you, you know, and you guys know this from experience, it doesn't matter how many degrees you got, how long you've been working somewhere, how much seniority you have. If you say something that people get offended by, if you say something stupid, that's all people are going to remember. They're not going to care about your leadership role. And you're going to spend a lot of time trying to recover from that. So you want to just be conscious of it. I'm not saying walk around on eggshells. I'm just saying look at your situations through this lens, and it just helps you move closer to practicing the skill set of emotional intelligence. No matter the situation, never let your emotions overpower your intelligence. Temperament theory. Some of you guys most of you guys said you hadn't heard of temperament theory. Temperament theory, again, is an evidence-based practice. It comes attached to personality instruments. A lot of people use it in different ways. Some people use letters to illustrate temperament theory. Some people use animals. Some people use numbers. In our training, we use colors, right, to closely associate you. Because research says, Myers-Briggs and David Kiersey says that we all, everybody in this room, are closely associated to a core set of values, beliefs, or characteristics on how we see the world. And most of us never take the time to understand that about each other or ourselves, so it's not hard for conflict to arise. So with the temperament theory, it helps you discover some of your own personal strengths. It'll help you recognize the strengths of others. It'll help you communicate and interact more effectively with others. It will help you understand, appreciate, and value the viewpoints of others. And it'll help you apply the power of temperament theory in your professional and personal lives. Here's a color grid. This is just a very small section of some of the core characteristics. Again, we would have to be in the full training to pick up on it. But if you look at that quadrant, right, they're broken down into 4 colors. And I said for us, we use gold, blue, green, and orange. And so just a snapshot of what someone that has a gold temperament, you know, gold temperaments are usually someone who is punctual, organized, dependable, detailed, hardworking, structured, predictable, and reliable. Someone who navigates the world through a blue temperament is more peaceful, spiritual, sympathetic, insightful, sensitive, accepting, patient, giving, and true. Someone that operates through a green lens, curious, abstract, intellectual, research-oriented, logical, theoretical, and analytical. And your orange temperaments are more spontaneous, generous, and heavy competition, optimistic, charming, fearless, wild, fun, and crazy, right? And so those are some of the temperaments. And so by looking at this quad up here, do you guys in the room start to see maybe which one you may gravitate to if you have more time to flesh it out? How many people would gravitate to a goal just by those basic characteristics? Let's look around the room, you guys.
Keep in between. Don't be scared.
Yeah, go. And you could be in between, but it'll take some more. We don't have the kind of time to flesh out the quizzes, but just by example. So we had a few goals. How about blue? How many people think they see the world through blue? Okay. So I want you guys to take a look at the different amount of hands that are going up. Hands down, please. How about greens? What about greens? Curious, abstract, intellectual. Okay. All right. How about oranges? All right. Okay. I'm orange too, just so I like the orange is my people. Right? But again, in the training, right, we do a couple of fun, innovative exercises that would help you come to the conclusion which one of these temperaments you most closely associated with. There'd be a body of content that supported that so you could deeply understand kind of, you know, how you navigate the world, how you receive information, how you put it out so that you can start to be a better version of yourself, right? That way you can be more available to others. Does that make sense? Okay. But we don't have time to kind of go through that. Again, just quick nuggets because it's a presentation. You know, do not get upset with people or situations. Both are powerless without your reaction, right? Me not being able to find a blue triangle, right? I could be upset, but I didn't. I just called Miss Flood and said, come get me. And then it made her mad, because then we had to walk, like, right? But we had to work through it, you know? When we got here, right, we wasn't quite ready with the AV system. No worries, okay. Right? We'll get it taken care of. But some people, right, that are very analytical, very, you know, everything has to be in order. That can bother you, right? But as an orange temperament, it doesn't bother me. It would have bothered you. Green. So a green, it really would have been nail biting, chocolate, that things are not ready. Orange, it's like whatever. Like I'm ready. If this wasn't ready, I would just chop it up with y'all for now, right? And another temperament might say, we're not prepared. I don't perform like that. Here's the key to it. Neither way is wrong, right? The challenge is understanding who you're dealing with on a day-to-day basis, okay? Quick handwriting exercise. If you guys have a pen or paper in front of you, do me a favor for those that do. Write your name down for me 3 times. If you have a pen and a paper, just write your name down for 3 times. I see about half the name does. 3 times. Yeah, just write it 3 times for me. And those that are participating, thank you for that. Now do me a favor and write your name down again, but this time use your opposite hand.
I can do that. I learned that I broke my thumb. I didn't have to learn how to write with my left hand in 6th grade.
Do it?
I'm not doing it. Yeah.
Okay. So those of you that was able to do that real quick, let's just kind of think about what that was, right? So, you know, for you to write your name down for me 3 times, the first time, and it was no problem, right? Real quick, you can hear the wind from the pen, whoop, right? How you want it, first name, last name, easy. But then I asked again to write with your opposite hand, what happened in the room? A little chatter, a little whoa, caught you off guard, right? I heard one person said they can do it, or somebody else said I probably couldn't do it, right? Was anybody unable to do it that made an attempt? And so the purpose, were you able to do it? Oh, right hand. Right, you couldn't write it all? I am right handed. No, I know, were you right handed? That's a very clear no. And I'm going to pick up on the energy and not ask you one more time. But for the most part, the purpose of the exercise, right, is to say for those of you that did take the time, think about that you just, when the last time you ever dropped us in? Besides the meeting, when the last time you had to write to drop us in? Right? Almost never, right? But in less than 90 seconds, you're able to do it, right? And so you think about the energy that it took to get that done. But when it comes to exercising emotional intelligence, it's going to be like that sometimes. One or two of the skill sets you're going to do without thinking. Some of you be self-aware with no problem, manage your reactions with no problem, you pick up on the vibe with no problems. And for others, it'll be a challenge. It'll be like writing with your opposite hand. And so next time you find yourself in a situation where you're struggling and you think you can't do it, I want you to come back to this exercise and go, well, I did that in 90 seconds. I can handle this.
Okay,
You guys get that?
I'm calling you on the other phone.
So data about emotional intelligence, right? If what I'm saying is not convincing you, maybe some stats can convince you, right? That the reason why emotional intelligence is important because they say that 90% of your top performers have high EQ.
Call Navy.
They say 58% of your job, right, you're responsible through emotional intelligence, right? You have to use emotional intelligence 58% of the time. And they also say people with high emotional intelligence make about 30,000 more a year than people without. And I think that comes to promotional opportunities, special assignments, things of that nature, favorable slots. Because here's the thing, the reality of it is, and I tell people all the time, when you come in and do an interview for something, your resume, the technical part, that got you in the room. What got you your position, right, is that you win the panel over. What did you say? What did you do, right? Because if you've ever sat on the panel before, there's always a meeting behind the meeting, right? And what did they say about all of the people? The people who said the most profound, brought the best energy, are the ones, that's how you got in the room, right? So we tell people that's important. And so next time you're going for promotion, next time you are coaching somebody about development, include emotional intelligence in that process and watch you stand out from the rest. Because we all did a poll today and said how many people knew about emotional intelligence, and a little bit half of the room, which tells you, doesn't take nothing away from anybody. It just tells you that we're moving around in the world today where everybody has not taken the time to understand this concept. And the beauty about emotional intelligence, it takes nothing away from who you are and what you're doing. It can only add to it. So it only makes sense to at least consider it. If you've seen this exercise before, don't spoil it, but go ahead and read this statement for finished files are the result of many years of scientific study combined with the experience of several years. To yourself, how many F's do you see? How many F's do you see? Give you about 10 seconds. I know. By show of hands, how many people only seen one F? How many people seen two F's? Raise your hand. We have one lady who's seen two F's. Be proud. I'm with you. I get up here with you. You got two F's over here. All right. How many people seen three F's? Raise your hand. Let's look around the room, you guys. Three F's. All right. How about four F's? Raise your hand. Let's look around. You guys need to look around. Five F's. All right. You're proud. There you go. You got a whole five. Okay. What about six? I'd be six F's. Wow. Okay. Let's see what happens. What we got here? Six. Oh my God.
Sorry.
So think about that for a second. What do we got here? We got six F's, right?
Yes.
Right? So think about this for a second, right? This is called a perception exercise. Were we all just looking at the same screen?
Yes.
But did we see something different? Right? So imagine if I didn't turn the screen back on and broke you up into groups. Threes over here, fours over here, fives over here, sixes over here. I'm just going to see what happens over here. Right? And we started the debate about how many F's there were. Could we have a lively debate? Why?
Because everybody saw it. Yeah.
Everybody believes their truth. right? And see, the reality of it, those of you that seen 3 Fs, you were right. There were just 3 more. I told you this is not no big magical, mystical thing here, right? And how many times, right, do we know something, right, that the next person doesn't know? And instead of just telling them what it is, we want to debate, right? We want to show people up, right? And you should just show them for the rest of the F's. And so perception, we all can be looking at the same thing and see something different. That's how it is in life. Every day, we all walk into the same room, same work environment, and we see something different. And again, honoring the fact that we see something different is the key to EI. The next time, try this. You find yourself in any type of conflict, any type of conversation that you guys are not on the same page, whether it's your kids, whether it's your spouse, your colleagues, supervisor, take under consideration that maybe, just maybe, they see something that you don't. And be the first one to say, you know what? Tell me more about your perspective. And watch what happens. The whole conversation will get neutralized because we spend more time trying to establish who's right, and in the end, it makes us all wrong. Some quick stuff about emotional intelligence. Again, it's going to increase your team performance, going to decrease occupational stress, improve decision making, increase leadership ability, increase personal well-being, and reduce your staff turnover. Why? Because when we feel good, it's really just that simple, right? If you're a manager of any type, if you want your people to be high performers, they got to feel good about what they're doing. They got to feel good about your leadership, right? And so when that's not happening, sometimes people will find themselves not performing like they should because they come to work every day feeling a certain kind of way. And for what we're doing here with I Never Worry, it's all about keeping your internal software updated on the latest version of yourself.
It's easy to see when other people do it. The news story about some guy going off on someone in a road rage incident, an altercation on an airplane, at a sporting event, conflicts at work, or even your neighbors yelling at each other. Most of us can identify when other people lose control of their emotions. But if we're honest with ourselves, we do it too. It's human nature to worry, stress, and lose our tempers. And when we do, sometimes we let powerful emotions influence our decisions. We overthink things, overreact, and try to change the people and circumstances around us. But we also have the capability within us to manage those emotions and handle situations better when other people don't. It's called emotional intelligence, and it can be learned. D.B. Bedford, the founder of I Never Worry Consulting and Training, developed a solution-based approach to managing stress and emotions called the Emotional Intelligence Experience. It's a unique approach because it blends emotional intelligence, the laws of attraction, and temperament theory to give people a comprehensive insight into their personal and social competencies. Imagine how our world would change if people knew how to better interact with each other at work, with our children, with our spouses, friends, and family. What could happen in the workplace if everyone understood how to reduce conflict and settle differences easily and without taking it personally? If communication was based on individual competency. Emotional intelligence isn't just about theory. Our proprietary training is facilitated through the lens of temperament theory, storytelling, and laws of attraction. Participants are introduced to these remarkable skills by way of innovative group exercises and by using an interactive personality instrument. After discovering more about emotional intelligence, participants know their own strengths and can identify the strengths of others. They will have discovered their own temperament style and the temperament style of others. When you understand how someone else processes information, identify their temperament style, and grasp how we attract situations based on the energy we bring into them, you're better able to communicate and create positive outcomes even in times of conflict. You can't always control the world around you, but with emotional intelligence, you can better understand and influence it. To learn more, visit www.ineverworry.com.
So thank you guys, that concludes my presentation. Questions and answers, but I definitely want to thank you guys for taking the opportunity to let me share. I know that you can be doing anything throughout your day, but to allow me to come in and just provide this quick overview, I really appreciate it. I don't take it lightly. So I'm going to open the floor for any questions and answers. Did that good of a job? Nice.
How do you define emotions?
How do you define emotions? Simply the way you feel, you know, in any given moment, you know, with that energy that's going. I use the word energy a lot. It's just all about the energy that's created throughout your day. And energy is shifted throughout the day depending on who you come in contact with and where you go. And so I kind of just try to pay attention to that the entire time. I don't have any thoughts today. Yes, ma'am.
Well, in addition to the workshops, you do your ebooks.
I couldn't hear you.
Questions. Do you have a book? Do you have an ebook?
I do have a book. It's on my website. I didn't bring it with me. I usually try to make the presentations clean rather than upselling, but it is on my website. And with the book, it's like a little EI starter kit. So it comes with a book, one of these cool shirts, and a wristband. The book is to give you fundamentals of the knowledge. The shirt is to raise awareness to everybody else, and a reminder band is for you to a little reminder for yourself. So it's a little starter kit on our website. Yes, ma'am.
You talked about training. Do you offer that somewhere else, or you can get a group of people that might want to come?
Yeah, I mean, that's negotiable. Most of the time, they're corporate trainings, and, you know, we do them in Kaisers and Sutter Healths and Marriott's and things of that nature. The Brunch of Inspiration or our EI retreats is when we kind of can put a group together. So if you have a small group of at least about 20, we can talk about putting a group together.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Was there, and I don't know, I know it's probably a long story, but is there a short version of what was the trigger for you to go down this path?
This one right here for emotional intelligence? Yeah, the biggest thing for me in 2009, I went to a training to learn about federal regulations up at my job. It was called the PREA, Prison Rape Elimination Act, right? Again, working in criminal justice. And on my way to the training, I was like, because number one, I hate trainings. Be honest with you. When you work for a corporation for a certain period of time, you go to a lot of trainings, and a lot of times they just don't cut it. So I wasn't looking forward to it. When I discovered emotional intelligence and temperament theory in this particular training, I had an aha moment. I was like, oh, there is at least one or two things out there that I would be interested in. So I started researching it, and then I started looking back those areas in my life where this would have been a benefit to me, and I started moving different about how I did things, because I was an upper manager at the probation department. So I managed managers that managed supervisors, that managed staff, that talked to kids, right? So that's a lot of energy, right? And I had to use EI all the time, dealing with employees, dealing with the kids, dealing with union issues. And so it became a very valuable thing to me. And then I wanted to make my training very fun, innovative, interactive to counter the feeling that most people have when they go to training. So that's probably the shortest version I can give you how I got here. Anybody else? Okay, so I can tell by the energy in the room, you guys are ready to go. So thank you so much. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
And we'd love to get your feedback and your thoughts. So
Please sign in if you haven't signed in. There's a sign up right here with Jackie.